Breaking news! The heat is rising behind the scenes at the Miami Dolphins, and I have some major updates for you that you're not going to want to miss. We all know the Dolphins are laser focused on making that long overdue Super Bowl run, and for that to happen, Mike McDaniel needs a war-ready roster. But let's be honest, this is no overnight job, and there are plenty of questions left on the table. Chris Grier should have been gone by now, but unfortunately, he's still pulling the strings. Already this offseason has stirred up some serious controversy and, yes, some optimism, but is the job truly done? I'm going to break it all down for you right now. But before we dive deep, make sure you've hit that like button, but only if you're a true Miami Dolphins fan who's been riding with the team for over 20 years. It's amazing to see fans from all generations. If that's you, drop a comment saying, "Go Dolphins! My heart bleeds aqua and orange." Let's get into it, because Miami has made some big moves, especially when it comes to the trenches. That's right, the big boys up front on both the offensive and defensive lines. After a season where Miami was manhandled at the line of scrimmage, this offseason has clearly been about reclaiming control. The first-round pick went to trench warfare. The biggest free agency money? Also aimed at the line. It's clear, the Dolphins left 2024 knowing they had to get tougher, stronger, and nastier up front. And now, fans are wondering, did they get it right? Starting with the offensive line, it seems the projected starting five is locked unless injury shakes things up. Patrick Paul is being penciled in at left tackle, paired next to the high-priced and experienced James Daniels. Aaron Brewer takes the center role, Jonah Savaiania is the rookie being counted on at guard, and Austin Jackson rounds out the right tackle spot. On paper, this is a more physical, more stable group than the patchwork unit we saw last year. The kind of unit that gives you hope. Hope that maybe, just maybe, this Dolphins offense can be balanced and explosive. But hold on, Dolphins fans, before we start celebrating, let's talk about the depth. Behind that starting five, the names start to get dicey. Liam Eichenberg is still here, still somehow on the roster, even though his versatility has yet to translate to actual consistent performance. Larry Borom was brought in as a Swiss Army knife, but again, we're talking about guys who, in a perfect world, wouldn't see the field unless absolutely necessary. Kean Smith is another name to keep an eye on. Injured in preseason last year, he might have been the fourth tackle if healthy. The team could have even redshirted Paul had Kean been available. Instead, Paul got thrown into the fire. So, with Kean likely back, and with Borom and Eichenberg providing emergency insurance, the line might be 9 deep, but that 9th spot is still vacant. Yes, you heard that right. The Dolphins need one more lineman with true guard tackle flexibility. Someone who can step in at a moment's notice and not become a liability. It's not just about finding a body, it's about finding the right fit. Someone who knows the system or can adapt quickly. Someone who can hold their own without needing a miracle. Joe Noteboom and Daniel Brunskill are two names floating around in free agency, both experienced, both capable of playing inside and out, and both likely cheap enough to fit under Miami's tight financial structure. Either of those additions could give this offensive line the depth it so desperately needs to weather the storm of a long NFL season. Switching over to the defensive side, the stakes are just as high. Miami lost a staggering 1,911 snaps worth of defensive line production with the exits of Emmanuel Ogbah, Calais Campbell, and Deshaun Hand. That's not a small hole to fill, it's a crater. Ogbah, for all his inconsistencies, gave Miami 733 snaps. Campbell brought 615. Deshaun Hand, another rotational cog, brought 563. And now, they're all gone. So who's left to pick up the slack? Well, the Dolphins are banking on a bounce back from Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb, two players who combined for just 134 snaps last year due to injury. If they're healthy, and that's a big if, they could contribute around 800 snaps each. Add in promising youngster Chop Robinson, who logged 565 snaps, and you're starting to rebuild that front, but you're still short. Benito Jones played 481 snaps last season, and he's expected to be part of the rotation again. Then there's the new kid, Kenneth Grant. Grant is a beast. Drafted in the top 15, he's not just a nose tackle, he's a versatile monster who spent most of his college snaps in the B-gap. He can line up in several spots, whether it's as a 3-tech, for eye, or even head up on the nose if needed. He's expected to handle at least 600 snaps, but let's be realistic, he's still a rookie. Jordan Phillips is another intriguing piece. A dense, squatty player with nose tackle traits, Phillips should easily cross 400 snaps, maybe more. But even if Grant hits 600 and Phillips hits 400, that still leaves you about 500 snaps of defensive line play unaccounted for. And that, Dolphins fans, is the concern. The team needs one more piece. Not a star, not even a high-end starter, just a dependable rotational guy who can give you 250 to 300 solid snaps, blur the line between base end and interior pressure. Brent Urban, a longtime Raven, is the name being whispered. 6 feet 7 inches, 295 pounds, with a decade of experience and a low price tag. He's not flashy, but he gets the job done. He's missed just one season in the last 5 years, consistently logging around 260 to 280 snaps per season. This is the type of veteran presence that could give the Dolphins the insurance they desperately need. So with all that being said, Dolphins fans, I want to hear from you. Do you think this trench overhaul is enough to carry us through a grueling season and deep into the playoffs? Or do we still need that one last piece to feel truly confident? Let me know in the comments. Should Miami bring in another lineman on each side of the ball, or is this group ready for battle? Because here's the thing, depth isn't just a luxury in the NFL. It's a necessity. And if the Dolphins want to survive the war of attrition that is a full NFL season, they can't be sitting around hoping that rookies will overachieve or that injury-prone veterans will magically stay healthy. That's a formula for disaster, and Miami fans know it better than anyone. We've seen this team start hot before, only to fall apart when the wear and tear sets in. That's why one more piece on both sides of the trenches might be the difference between another wild-card flameout and a legitimate Super Bowl run. Now let's dive a little deeper into what that means on offense. Joe Noteboom, for example, is a name that should absolutely be on Chris Grier's speed dial. He's 30 years old, has started games at both guard and tackle, and he knows the kind of zone-based scheme the Dolphins run. He played only 20% of the Rams' snaps last season, which makes him a perfect candidate to slide into a depth role here. He's not going to break the bank. And let's be honest, if Isaiah Wynn and Liam Eichenberg can stay on this roster, there's zero excuse not to bring in a guy like Noteboom who has actually played consistent football when healthy. Daniel Brunskill is another solid option. With a history in San Francisco, he understands the McDaniel system, has guard tackle versatility, and last year he played for under $3 million. That's bargain territory. Brunskill might not wow you on tape, but if we're talking about a backup who can step in and keep the offense afloat in a crisis, that's exactly the type of player you want. He's also a technician, smart, reliable, not going to get your quarterback killed with mental errors. And again, if we're trusting Eichenberg to hold down emergency snaps, then Brunskill would be a major upgrade in that role. On the defensive side, it's just as urgent. Brent Urban isn't a flashy name, but he fits exactly what Miami needs, a tough, experienced rotational player who can give you around 250 to 300 quality snaps. He's 6 feet 7 inches, 295, and has played for the Ravens for most of his career, which means he's been a part of some tough, disciplined defensive fronts. He's not going to explode off the stat sheet, but that's not what this team needs. With Kenneth Grant expected to handle a heavy workload and Jordan Phillips taking on a bigger role, Urban is the perfect glue guy. He keeps the rotation fresh, gives you insurance in case of injury, and helps you survive those ugly December games where the trenches decide everything. So Dolphins fans, I'm asking you again, are you confident in this trench overhaul? Do you think Noteboom or Brunskill on offense, Urban on defense, or even someone we haven't discussed, should be that final piece? Or are you worried that once again, Miami's going to come up just short in the trenches when it matters most? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you've made it this far, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and stay locked in with us for more Miami Dolphins updates all season long. Click on the video on your screen right now for more exclusive analysis, and as always, go Dolphins!